And a very good morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing very well today and you're ready to start your day with me, Mohammed. And we are having some technical difficulties. My earpiece is not working, so it's a good thing I was staring at the camera before we started. I hope you guys have had a good day. I hope you had a good start to the week. The weather is a bit crazy, so do make sure you look after yourself, stay hydrated. Try not to jump from the cool to the heat too much because it's not good for your health either. Now, there is no Shazad today. He's not feeling well because of the exact same reason, and that's why I gave this message. But now we have a lot to cover today. As you know, we like to give you a lot of information. We're going to be giving the youngsters information about what are the opportunities out there. Why is it important to look at the business arena, the corporate sector of the country? Because there's a lot of growth, there's a lot of investment. We have CPEC, we have lots of businessmen. We are an agriculture-based country, but we are trying to focus more on business and investments because that is the way forward. And to discuss all of that, we've got some wonderful guests, and we will be starting from scratch. We'll be talking about the importance of mentorship, the importance of having gender equality within the working space. How important is it to have ideas? How important is it to think outside of the box? But before we get started on that, we have the news section. So let's get started with the top stories, then the public service message, and then I'll introduce to you our guests. Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi says Pakistan wanted peace and stability in Afghanistan as it had suffered immensely on account of prevailing situation. Moving on. Pakistan and China agreed to facilitate peace and reconciliation in Afghanistan and promote meaningful engagement. North Korea fires a missile that flew over northern Japan before crashing into the sea. The city of Houston is in the grip of the biggest storm in history of the state of Texas. And the Central Serbia Open Air Festival showcase medieval food, music, and sword fighting has gathered in Central Serbia to celebrate. Right. So sorry about that. We had a few technical issues there, and I think I also had the newspapers got not all the correct news in there. So wonderful. Anyway, as I said before I introduced the news segment, we also have to do the public service message. I always forget that. So let's go take a look at the public service message. And my public service message is linked to my introduction, which is the weather is being very temperamental. It rained yesterday, but it did not cool things down. It didn't settle things. So try and keep yourselves hydrated. Please keep an eye on what's happening with the weather, because jumping from heat into the cold and vice versa, it's really not good for your immune system. It's not good for your health. It's not good for all this your sinuses and all these things. So, and if you suffer from allergies and things, it will, for me, it has exacerbated the situation. So do try and make sure that you're looking out for the weather, keep hydrated, and look after yourselves, because you don't want to catch the viruses and the flus that are going around at the moment. And now, moving on to the show. Sorry, it's very disjointed today. We have a lot to cover. As I mentioned, the importance of focusing on business. We really need to know what's happening within the business world. We need to know what opportunities there are for the youngsters, because with one of the biggest youth population in the entire world, we need to make sure that we are giving them practical skills, we are giving them practical information and education that will allow them to keep keep up with the pace of the rest of the world and are not left behind, because it's imperative that the youth of Pakistan, with the potential they have, are given all the opportunities. So to discuss all the opportunities out there, how they can create opportunities, what's happening with CPEC, what's happening with the gender equality, all of that, what is the corporate social responsibility of each individual and the organizations. We've been joined by Mr. Faisal Niaz. He is a corporate and telecommunications expert. He's been in this industry for over 15 years. Assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
Besides Mr. Faisal Niaz, we've been joined by Dr. Farida Faisal. She is the head of business school, Arid University. Assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us. And you can look at me when we're talking, because we'll have the conversation. So I will start with you, Mr. Faisal. Business and the importance of being aware. How important is that?
Yep. Like you said in your intro, also with the biggest youth population in the world, one of the biggest, the importance of business and corporate world becomes more important. The youth is getting out into the market.
Yep.
And the best thing about is, after a very long time, the economy is reviving.
Yep.
And there are wonderful opportunities around. So there is entrepreneurship possibilities around in Pakistan now. Businesses are flourishing. You have to, however, get the right kind of business studies and learn about the traits about it.
Okay.
You just cannot jump into it. So the importance of the business education is very important, and that is where people like us come into, that we should take the responsibility and make sure that the youth today learns the traits of the businesses.
Okay.
Otherwise, what happens is that if they go into the market and they get a failure, then they are just not going to take another risk, and that is not what we would like to say.
Before we jump into what happens and the consequences of not having the adequate education and awareness, Dr. Farida, how important is it to give experiential experience to the students?
Experiential learning.
Experiential.
Yes. Well, instead of only the classroom learning, where only the lectures are delivered and the students simply note down the lectures and regurgitate the entire material in the exams, that is not the kind of system which is very conducive for, let's say, out-of-the-box thinking, as you said. So we need a different kind of learning system. In experiential learning, what happens is that you encourage the students to do learning by doing.
Okay.
See, so to teach business, let them go into the market, look at the market dynamics for themselves, think in terms of introducing innovative products,
Okay.
etc., and think in terms of innovative business models. Come back into the class, analyze the kind of feedback that they got from the market, and go on from there.
Okay, now that's the thing. I mean, most people are aware that experiential learning,
Yeah.
hands-on experience, that is the way that things stick with you. That is the way to become, more street smart as well. You have proper
Exactly.
experience. However, like you said, within Pakistan, there is the culture of when someone's studying doing the A levels or even GCSEs or metric or whatever system they're involved in within the country, there's no concept of summer jobs. There's no concept of after school work.
Yeah.
There's no concept of that. So how are we expecting to, because I keep saying this and I'm really sorry, but it's very true. We need to really take stock. In 2017, why is it that we are still we've got our blinkers on with education within this country?
I suppose
Because the thing is, within your breakdown as well, you also talk about governance reform as well.
Yes, I do.
This all falls into it.
Well, yes, the change has to come. I think the institution needs to take a lead. And
But
certainly
if they are not, or if they are not taking a lead that is good enough, how do we make it?
Need to make a difference.
The difference is not going to be sudden and should not be. I mean, you're not talking about reversal all of a sudden.
No.
Okay, you're not talking about a kind of a revolution. You want an evolutionary system.
Right.
And small steps in the right direction, making sure you don't go back, right? So stick with the system, but even within the system, I tell you, there are so many maneuvering spaces.
Okay.
Okay, some students are going to be academically oriented, and that's the way they are. They're going to score well. But then that is only 10% of the class. What about the 90%? So you need to involve them into other activities within the school itself, and so that they become part of the administration itself, help you do certain things. They do not have to carry formal portfolios, or they don't have to carry formal titles, but help them to do. That's what I do. I make sure that my research students are helping me with my projects. I get work being done for nothing really, but at the same time the students also, it's a win-win situation.
Absolutely, and that's an international kind of model. So let me ask you, Faisal, when you go to these, when you do the workshops, when you do these lectures, when you hold these workshops, and all, you speak internationally, what do you see when you see? I'm sure you can tell the difference that this person has experienced, this person hasn't. How important is it within the practical world? And how often do those people who don't have practical experience fail?
Okay. Thing is, like I said earlier, also experience is important. Learning the traits is important. The difference between the quality of the students from abroad and here, I don't see much of a difference. People here, youth here, is yes, they want to learn. So my opinion is a bit different. We need a shake-up. We need a shake-up in our educational system. They need to see the opportunities. They are not getting enough opportunities to get acquainted with the corporate world, with the business world.
Okay, now tell me, you keep using the word opportunities. What kind of opportunity? Let's be specific. What opportunities?
Right. The buzzword is entrepreneurship.
Yeah, okay.
But it's not a buzzword, it is the need of Pakistan.
Right, okay.
Every second student that comes out is not going to get a job over here.
Okay.
We do not have enough job opportunities by the government or by the private sector. So what is left behind? The left behind is that person needs to learn how to do her own business. Now the good thing is, and I keep repeating, is that it is a fertile world, it's a place where a lot of business opportunities are available. Because not much has been done. So the opportunities are unlimited. The technology side, the students, the people are doing wonderful work. The agriculture sector is so huge, and it is not associated with the technology at the moment. You pick up any industry, and there is huge gap in those. So those gaps needs to be filled in by these youth who has now the knowledge, the technology, but what they only need is the right kind of association within industry, so they understand how those work.
Okay, now this association within the industry that we want our youth to have, that will come through guidance and mentorship.
Yes.
Like you said, those bridges need to be built.
That is where our role comes in. You see, if you ask me, one of the policy that needs to be done, which is not going to happen, is that every single
Why is it not going to happen? That's a negative.
Because, no, I'm saying that I'm doing it for that. So we're doing it on our individual. It has to come at a government level, is that there's a policy should be made that every person at a certain corporate level, let's say of a senior manager or above, has to spend, let's say, 3 hours in a public university teaching his side of the profession. For example, if I'm an HR general manager in an organization, I should be going in a university and a business school teaching human resource to those. And similarly for all those areas.
Okay, now that brings us, that falls into the umbrella of corporate social responsibility? Yes,
It does, but it also becomes that individual responsibility. I am doing it is more and as an individual. I love doing that.
No, but see that you're a nice person and you want the country to go forward, but not everyone has that within them.
That is what we need to now cultivate into the people, encourage as many people to join this.
Okay, I will talk about that in the moment, but let's move. Now, you've raised a few very important points, which is the CSR and the entrepreneurship aspect of it and the governance reform. But we'll start from female entrepreneurship, and I'll start with you, Dr. Farida. You're the head of the business school.
Yes.
So when you look at your classroom, what is the gender breakdown there?
Ha. In public sector universities, we are looking for the boys, really.
Really?
Yeah. They are the
Excellent.
backbenchers now, because obviously we enroll and we give admission on basis of merit, and merit means marks, so the girls are scoring more marks. In my university, it's almost, good gender balance, but
Okay.
in many other public sector universities, you find more females. So
Okay.
here is
now,
the
okay, now let's
important
stop.
point. You just do not get this education to improve your chances in the marriage market.
Okay, no, let's stop. Let's start first. Now, yeah, that's what I was going to go to. Right, okay, yeah,
And
continue.
that's what I'm hoping for, that
Okay.
these girls are not doing that, because honestly, that way they are not utilizing the opportunity which has been afforded to them.
Okay. Now, regarding the breakdown, like you said, you're looking for the boys. Why are there so few boys? Because the girls take all the spaces?
No, actually the admission is purely on merit. Again, a policy which needs to be reviewed. By merit, they mean the number
Numbers.
of marks which you have secured, and usually the way the marks are secured, again,
Yeah.
through a very
I would never
typical
have been admitted
memorization system.
in school in Pakistan. Like, no university would have taken me if it was done on merit alone.
Yeah.
Okay. So continue, please.
Yeah. So, I mean, no matter how they come in, it's not just the intake, you see. Once they are in, they are equipped with all kind of knowledge, and also in our case, experience and mentorship. And
No, okay, that's afterwards. That's the
so,
post.
I mean, then the next step is how to really make sure that they take off.
Okay.
So for that purpose,
Exactly, rather than
for
marriage
that
and stuff.
purpose, in all universities, the HEC has helped to establish ORIC. These are called Offices of Research, Innovation and Commercialization.
Okay.
So we have these units available inside the universities, which have P&D, and then they also have industrial linkages and business incubation.
Okay.
Now, we need to get the students from the business schools into the incubation centers, so that they can basically, start working on these ideas, which they can later turn into businesses.
And the government of Punjab and the HEC did the incubation
yes,
centers as
yes.
well, didn't they? Excellent. Good.
I would like to add
Please,
on the,
this is a conversation, by
Yeah,
the
yeah,
way.
yeah.
This is not a formal interview.
So I would like to add to the incubation centers, because that is what I'm associated also, other than my job, is
Wonderful.
I'm associated with one of the incubation centers, which
Artist, mentor, lecturer, incubation center.
golfer.
And the list will go on. We'll cover it all.
So I'm associated with the incubation center, and that is wonderful news.
Okay.
The kind of the stuff that is getting out of the universities, we sometimes get disappointed, but no. The kind of quality that we are seeing in the incubation centers, the kind of teams and the kind of the projects that they are working on,
Yep.
they are wonderful. And the other thing, just to take it from here, the gender equality also there. There are a lot of females in those groups, and they're working on some amazing ideas. And the incubation, the good thing is, I'm very, very, very optimistic about it. The incubation thing has really catching up.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to pause you there because we have to go for a short break. But because Shazad's not here now, I can finally ask those questions, because I had to act like I really understood it before. But we'll break down the incubation centers and why
Right.
they're so positive for
Sure.
all those people who may not have caught on to it the previous times we've discussed it. So we're going to go for a short break, and when you come back, we're going to come back and continue discussing the importance of the business development, especially for the youth within the country. Stay tuned.
largest cultural activity in Pakistan is the annual National Folk Festival, Lok Mela, held in Islamabad in October each year. Over the past 2 decades, this festival has taken on an international flavour, and more than 20 different countries have sent their artisans and performers to participate in the festival. Nationally, the festival has become a thing of pride for artisans and performers who come on their own to participate. Most important of all, the provinces of Pakistan and Azad Jammu and Kashmir put up beautifully decorated pavilions, and visitors have the unique opportunity to see an assortment of Pakistan's traditionally rich culture in the federal capital of Islamabad for an exciting 10 days. An exhibition of artisans at work under the banner of the Heritage Museum forms the core of this festival. Pavilions of each province depict their own regional culture and crafts. The Research and Media Centre of Lok Virsa arranges groups of dancers that perform all over the festival grounds, inviting visitors to join in, and in the evening arranges music concerts from all parts of Pakistan. This festival is a true depiction of the diversity found in Pakistani culture. Fairs and Festivals of Pakistan.
Welcome back, everyone. And before the break, we were in discussion with our guests about the business side industry of Pakistan and what the youth have to do, what opportunities they have, what kind of, you know, what they need, basically how they need to think in order to avail all these new opportunities arising or even create some for themselves. Now, before the break, we were talking about the gender aspect and the incubation centers. So let's focus on the incubation, then we'll come back to the social aspect of it because that's if ticks more than one box. Now, we've had multiple shows on the incubation centers. Can you just once again, for all those people joining us, and for me as well, a refresher course on what is an incubation center and what are the benefits of it?
So the concept of incubation center, the word has
And
come
this is
from
what the government and the
Yes.
corporate sector are involved in.
Are involved. So the concept of incubation center, the word has come from the incubation, how the chick is taken through the process of its maturing. The same goes for the students also. You see, like Dr. Farida said, that they might be doing an effort in their own personal capacity, but at the end of the day, the universities are only teaching the theories. Even if there are practicals in it, the students are only doing it to get the marks out of it. They're not learning the actual ropes of the businesses.
Okay.
So they come out of the university all eager to do wonders, but they do not know how to go and which direction.
Yeah.
More importantly,
Sounds like my life, really.
Yes. More importantly, more critically, the disconnect of the academia with the industry.
Yes, okay.
They do not get the opportunity to meet the right kind of people, learn from them, work under the mentors.
Okay.
That is where the incubation center comes in. The incubation centers give them the opportunity to work alongside with the industry, learn from them.
Okay.
So when their product is developing or their ideas are developing, they know how business-wise it is going to be important.
Okay.
You see, as a person, no matter how much ability I have, if do not have the right person to guide me in a certain field, I would get lost.
Okay.
So the incubation center gives the whole 360-degree environment to those students that that they have brilliant ideas, wonderful.
Okay.
But how do we convert them into good businesses?
Excellent. So that kind of resolves that issue of not having the experiential learning, right? So that's great. Now that's okay. Great. Now we all know what incubation centers are and what they do. Now going forward, we're talking about the importance of the gender. As Dr. Farida's already pointed out in her classes, there are more females. But then when you actually step in, it's like the medical arena.
Exactly.
Multiple, over 60, 70% female students. Great, wow, women are really intelligent. They're working really hard. Then when you go into the working field, less than 30%,
Yes.
less than 40% are actually
Yes.
working. Now, there have been lots of articles. There's been a lot of, not accurate surveys, but people have been doing their research.
Yes.
A lot of people are getting these education, these degrees, like you said, to improve their
Chances in the marriage market.
yeah. What's
Yeah.
that? Eligible. To make themselves more
Eligibility in the
eligibility is the word. I'm looking for.
Unfortunately, that's a very unfortunate.
Now that's a
trend.
very. I mean, look, you can study for whatever reason you
Yes.
want. We're not here to control you guys, whatever reasons. But for that to be one of the sole purposes, that's not a healthy, mentally, socially, spiritually way to approach life. Just FYI, guys. But now, for you, sir, Faisal, tell me. We don't have as many women in the working world,
Yes.
in the business.
The ratio is around about 5% of the total in the corporate
When you
world.
have Dr. Frida sitting here
Yes.
saying that majority
Yes.
of my
Yes.
class are females and
Yes.
then less than
Yes.
5% are in
the
the world.
5% on the management level, around 20% in the, so that is where the corporate world also need to realize.
Yeah.
Everything the government cannot come and dictate.
Yeah.
The organizations need to make rules like that. No, we're going to have 20% female. Same goes for
Yeah.
handicapped people and other also. They need to be inducted in our societies.
No, no.
So,
In technically, we call this as glass ceilings and sticky floors.
Okay.
So first, it is difficult to get into the organization at a level which is particularly middle or upper management. It's difficult to do that. And once you're there,
Open, quite
then the
respectable.
conditions
Yeah.
within the organizations are not very gender friendly. You have to compete in the men's world on men's terms, which is very unfair. See, so when we talk about gender mainstreaming, what we're talking about is make the practical and strategic conditions more conducive for females, and then start, asking why they are not part of the workforce. So, see, females have to deal with so many issues once they decide to leave their houses and go into the workforce.
Okay, now this is I'm sorry, I'm going to have to do this. My co-host is not here, so I have to do this. If you don't mind me saying, but you guys are married,
Yep.
Yeah.
correct? Yes, for you, thank God. But so you're the head of the business
Yeah.
department. You're international speaker for business, expert, telecommunications, artist, etc. How did you get out into the work field? Was it
Well-
always with the aim of being out in that?
Yes, I did, because you see, I'm from a family of teachers, and I've always been told that if this country has invested that much money into your education, I've always studied in public sector universities,
Great.
Subsidized learning, so then it is my responsibility. I will later talk about corporate social responsibility. First, I will apply it to myself. So there were times, very difficult times, but thank God, with the support of my husband and my in-laws, I was able to, stay within the workforce. There were times when I needed a little bit of flexibility, and that is what women need, really.
Yeah.
When the children are young, you need flexibility, you need environments where the children will be taken good care of. But if that is available, then there is no reason where if the woman herself is committed and wants to work hard, that she cannot achieve a certain level.
Okay,
But
Faisal.
just I would like to add into it that we are cultivating same in our children also. As we
Yes.
speak, our daughter is doing
Community
community
service.
services in Pindi, in
Excellent.
one of the schools in public schools. My son just been doing another community work. So we are making sure that our
Okay,
this
before we
is
get to the
cultivated in
okay,
them.
but before we talk about the recent generation, I want to first talk about now. You know, Dr. Farida said from a line of teachers. You know, she always wanted to work. Now, this is the problem that we have. A lot of you know, families and systems are not supportive or
True.
they're not flexible.
Yes.
Now, how did you? You know, you seem like a very, you know, enlightened, educated, you know, background and family. How did your parents or think like that? That it's cool, let her do what she wants, it's fine, you know, it's not a problem. Because there is
yeah,
that,
yes,
no matter what
stigma.
we say, there is a
Yes.
cultural
Yes,
stigma attached to it.
Yes, it is. You can say that we were lucky in that way. We were blessed with amazing parents who were
Yeah.
very, very open to these kind of things, and they have always encouraged. And the thing is that they have never seen a difference between it is a son or a daughter. And
very
that is what what we need to encourage, and that's what. When I teach in the university, so I'm exposed to a number of students, males, females, and if I can inspire them, I try to work to educate them out of the books,
Okay.
and that is important. The teachers need to get. There is too much emphasis on the books, and too less on the learnings.
Now the thing is, you know, we can sit here and talk about it. You know, that there might be some students watching right now, and they're like, okay, fine, well, let's do the practical aspect. But then they'll go back to uni or they'll go back to school. They may not score the best. It will hinder them because within the system they're living in, it doesn't work.
Yes.
So
yes.
what would your advice be to people like that?
Okay, so you know they are working in a certain system, so they have to accustom according to the system also. So I would not be saying that the numbers are not important, but numbers are not everything. The initiative is important.
Okay.
For a incubation in an incubation center to get on board an incubator, an entrepreneur, we do not look at the numbers. We look at the ideas that that person is bringing in, the confidence that that person has, how he or she is presenting that idea. It has got absolutely nothing to do with numbers. And just to give you, most of the greatest of the people in the corporate world were not the best of the students.
No, exactly. Yeah.
I means the dropouts. I don't try to
But
give
don't
examples.
drop out, guys.
So Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or whoever, they are the dropouts. So I'm not encouraging students to be dropouts, but I'm saying that it is not about numbers.
Okay.
We keep telling them that yes, in the system they need the numbers, they need the grades to get into the university, they need to have the right GPAs, they get scholarships out of it. But they need to explore themselves.
Okay.
Find where their interest is, and then they work into it. And
Yeah, there needs to be, I think we really truly need to teach a bit more self-reflection on, you know, what we want from
Absolutely.
life.
Absolutely.
Because it's very important. You know, these like 1 year, 5 year plans, doesn't mean you have to stick to it rigidly. It's about having a rough idea of where you want to head. Now, just coming back, I want to quickly bring in this, before we run out of time, I want to bring in the corporate social responsibility of it all. We've briefly touched upon it throughout our conversation. Regarding the business, because we can say the government need to do this, the government need to do that, but until the citizens raise their voices, government's not going to take note. That's in any country, in any part of the world.
Yeah.
You have to start utilizing the system to know where it's broken and how to fix it. Now, regarding the private sector, what do you think what more can they do regarding creating more opportunities, maybe reaching out to the more rural aspect of the society? What
Businesses, I think, can do a lot.
Yeah.
But
Because
really-
sorry, one moment. I just forgot to mention, because these incubation centers and all these organizations, they give vocational training to women in rural communities, and they become business women, like very
yes.
stable
sometimes
businesswomen.
they need the training, and many times the women themselves, seriously, there is so much talent, and there are so many good ideas floating around. It's just that they need a little bit of encouragement. They are already working you see, many times they spontaneously develop their ideas.
Yeah.
You do not really need to put it on paper or have a high-fly idea which can be, marketed as an idea on its own. It has to work in the market.
Okay.
And workable products are there. Through microfinance, the change is also taking place, no doubt. So these women, they are there. We just need to discover them, bring them into the limelight, grow them, and also kind of give them a new orientation. You see, at the moment, making money is all what matters. It's not really. In a sustainable world, you need money. Plus, you need social responsibility. Society needs to go along. And the third aspect is environmental, which I think many times our businesses are completely ignoring
Yep.
the environmental aspect. So these three aspects need to be taken together, and they can be interlinked. And there are going to be positive outcomes of one into the other sector very easily. Many times, for example, in packaging, if the packaging is reduced, many companies like Nestle, for example, just by changing a bit into their bottle, they have saved so much plastic. See, so what they've done is that they have been environment friendly, and at the same time it has added into their earnings. The same model can be applied into smaller businesses as well. It's just a matter of orientation. That's very important. So before CSR, it is important that the business managers have this concept of sustainability.
Okay, and that concept can arise from education.
Education, awareness.
Awareness. Now, Faisal, you do, you're a corporate guru. You go to, you give lectures, you give workshops. When you have these small or medium-sized businesses, majority of the time their path is difficult. There's not lots of money there. There's not lots of education or opportunities for these things. The self-made people a lot of the time. Now, how does one expect to reach out to these people who have done everything by themselves? They've, managed to land on their feet. But how are we going to now teach them that it's about sustainability? It's about evolving with the times.
They are the best mentors here in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Unlike these...
Probably the most flexible as well.
Yes. Unlike we learn the hard way over here. So in world over, we give them examples of the huge tycoons, business tycoons. There's Bill Gates and others who have done wonders, and they have seen their difficult times. Pakistan is full of them. I mean, most of the people here are self-made.
Yes.
They are not given something in a platter. They have earned their way around it. They know more about the business and the people sitting in the corporate world. So what they already know the ropes and the way how the business is run. It is more important that these kind of people bring into the mainstream. These people needs to be the role models of the students.
Okay.
You see that because the students, most of them would not have much of the capital to start off.
Okay.
So they need to learn, and they need to idolize a person who had nothing and still has become so big in Pakistan. And that can only happen in a country like Pakistan. That's the best part about it.
Okay.
So we don't need to get any learning to those small businesses. Rather, those small businesses, entrepreneurs need to come and share their experiences with the students, and that can be the most beneficial.
Okay. And now, because we actually have run out of time, but before we wrap up, you are working on a book.
Yes.
Habits of Successful
Yes.
People.
So because
there's quite a few of these self-help books.
That is exactly what I was about to say.
Okay.
For the last 15 years, 20 years, we have been reading the same book of 7 Habits of Stephen Covey.
Okay.
So, I mean, I go to lectures in organizations. Still, there is a course on communication, and what I'll be teaching? 7 Habits of Communication by Stephen Covey. He's dead for 10 years now, and he's a billionaire out of these books. Now, we need to change and give students more with the habits they can associate with are closer to the Pakistan. So I am listing down the number of habits with whom they can associate with.
Okay.
Simple habits, not a successful, and that is what I've written, not a successful manager or a rich manager, a successful person, Idhi.
Yeah.
So a person who can inspire.
Okay.
So that is my objective is make them a successful person, but a good person also of the society.
Okay, wonderful. Well, best of luck with
Thank you
that,
so
and
much.
we look forward to getting a copy.
Absolutely.
Okay, wonderful.
Absolutely.
And thank you, Dr. Farida, for joining us today on a very
it's been my
important
pleasure.
topic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
So, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. But no, we did speak about some very important, serious, heavy topics for a Tuesday. It is Tuesday, right?
It is.
Yeah. Okay. I forgot what day it was of the week. Now, but as our conversation has taken out, that Pakistan, it's the area business, trying to make something of your life. It's a fertile land, and the attempts will not be futile. I picked that up from you while you're talking, and also the fact that the CEOs need, organizations do need to step out. They need to start meeting with the universities, giving lectures. That's a really great opportunity to see who the new bright sparks of the country are. Maybe you can, like whip them up, steal, what is it called? Headhunting from universities. So all you guys need to do is work hard, have some focus, do a little bit of reflection, and yes, study hard, get all your exams done, but do try and see what can you do to increase your experience, because that's important. So with that, if you want any information linked to today's show, do log on to our Facebook fan page, which is with the name of World This Morning, our Twitter page, World This Morning without a G, our Daily Motion and YouTube page, World This Morning, and the repeat will be at 11 p.m. That's 11:05 p.m. in the evening. Have a wonderful day, be safe, and do watch out for the weather, and we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning.